I just realised I didn't turn my microphone on, so that's going to be interesting. Welcome, friends around the world, to our recap of Division 5M's Day 2 and 3. I've been a little bit behind because of other work, so we're going to quickly bang it through today before the day ends, which it will do pretty darn soon. So, let's go through things pretty darn quick to catch up to where we start things off. So in the first day of competition, the Dashing Haberdashery, my team, the Kislev squad, got a pass through. The Mausoleum Maniacs lost out to the Houses of Westeros, the Dwarven team, in a fairly convincing fashion, also taking a death along the way, though I don't believe it was anyone too serious. The Blood of the Elder started things off well. Oh no, Blood Bowl servers. There we go. I think, yes, that was a gimme. And the last game, the Children of Dune getting a couple ones in there. I believe some well-situated SCP as well. So on to day 2. Children of Dune picking up their second win, a convincing 4-1 affair in which 20 armor breaks were inflicted upon the Children of Dune, but still they managed to pick up 4 touchdowns, only taking 1 death along the way. Unfortunately, there's not an easy way to be able to see who that death actually was, which seems like a pretty major oversight. But hey, what can you do, huh? SPP going heavily onto Duncan, Idaho, whereas Little Croak Snuggles got a decent spread of SCP because of all of those armor breaks, though said didn't necessarily turn into a ton of injuries. So yeah, just 2 injuries and 1 kill, so a total of 6 SCP. Still though, Children of Dune 4-1, very nice start for them. The Underratted. Now, I didn't have a lot of expectations about the Underworld team coming necessarily, because they did miss the first week. I believe they came in through the ramp-up program. They did extremely well. 4 touchdowns is absolutely crazy. I can't remember if I saw this game specifically myself, but yeah, I mean, not very many armor breaks. The SPP getting, you know, a couple of levels definitely in there for the Underratted team. They're a team which I'm particularly scared about facing in the future. Let's see. So yeah, only taking 2 casualties along the way. For a team that's very low armor, overall, that's pretty nice. This thrower leveling up as well. Exceptional. Black Hawk getting close over on Green is Mean is okay. As we will go on to see, the Green is Mean team will not have the best of times, but things may have turned around for them recently. So, Houses of Westeros, fresh off their win against the Mausoleum Maniacs in week number 1, go up against the High Elven team of Blood of the Elder, and while the Elves end up taking a death along the way, they get a fair amount of touchdowns and passes, while suffering through 16 armor breaks, which did turn into 7 injuries and a death. I think I did see that one, and it was a very deep bench of injuries for the Blood of the Elder. So yeah, good on them for making it work. Ritterspawn, who got a lot of the crucial passes for the Blood of the Elder team, was a very well-deserved MVP as much as it's ever done. Hey Esper, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Ritterspawn definitely the MVP in every sense of the word. I think, yeah, picked up 8 SPP in that game. A lot of the Blood of the Elder team names are almost impronounceable. The only good news for the Houses of Westeros was they got a ton of SPP, their experience points on their players. So even while they couldn't build up a winning streak, which Blood of the Elder have done here, they still came out of that one pretty okay. You know, the massive amount of injuries, massive amounts of blocks, and the kill as well. Not too bad at all. On to the last one, in which my brave fellows got their first chance to have a match. Dashing Haberdashery, the Kislev team, managed to get 2 touchdowns, thanks to the Mausoleum Maniacs being a little bit aggressive with their ball handling. Let's put it that way. The other way of putting it was that the Maniacs decided to use their ball-carrying werewolf as an offensive unit, chase right into the middle of the Kislev team, and then the inevitable happened. They were murdered. Well, not murdered. They were murked pretty bad. And at the end of that, I got quite a healthy amount of SCP. Mausoleum Maniacs only got 1 on top of their regulars, so not a great result for them at all. Let's look at the stats. No injuries inflicted on either side. That's a hugely amazing result for my team. Pretty shocking sort of ton of events for the Maniacs, considering that they come in with 2 wearables who are extremely adept at managing to slaughter people. Ball possession very heavily in the Kislev team's favour. 5 passes as well. You'll notice this through the games I'm playing. I've got 2 agility 4 players, and I'm fully intending to make full use of their ability to pass to each other and try and grind up some SPP. 1 SPP each time you pass successfully? Why not? Why not? It does limit the use of the catches offensively, but I'm here to grow. I'm not here to win. Alright, that takes us through day number 2. On to day 3, and I think we might even get a chance to go and have a look at one of these games. So the under-ratted team, who I believe puts them up as... That should be a 3rd victory, assuming they... No, actually in the league they came in late. We'll have to check, actually, leaderboard. So under-ratted, yes, 2-0-1. So even though they've won all their games so far, they theoretically have a loss because of entering in the competition a little bit late. But a 0-3 victory over the Lizardmen is extremely good. Under-ratted. We might have to go and actually have a look at how they're playing the game once we're done going through the actual games themselves, because they are doing something pretty special here. Lord Croak's Knuckles, all they got at that last game was taking a death, so not amazing for them. I think we're going to have some long, hard looks in the mirror there. Let's look on the SPP. Look at that, under-ratted with a truly ludicrous amount of SPP. This is an Underworld team that's accelerating their growth as a team dramatically, and we'll definitely be looking across how their team ended up. Under-ratted definitely coming out as one of my favourite teams. So 5 injuries inflicted as well as a kill. That's pretty crazy. Only 1 pass, which is a lot less than I would have expected. And let's see, yeah, took 2 casualties on the way. Very, very impressive stuff. Lord Croak's Knuckles just got nothing out of that game at all. I feel kind of bad for them. The Children of June, my Kislev team, up against... what am I talking about? That's coming soon. Children of June, the Skaven team, up against the Houses of Westeros Dwarven squad. Kind of surprising. Yes, only 1 pass. Yes, but I'm appalled. Appalled! So, the Children of June, they did very well with their gutter runners before, their hyper-agile units. So, to score only 1 touchdown, something weird must have happened there. 15 armor breaks is not a ton. 1 expulsion. This is worth noting for the House of the Westeros team coach, is they are very willing to foul with their Dwarven players. Like, it's almost the point of being, a unique thing to them, because it's not usually what's done with a Dwarf team, because they're so expensive as members. So, a lot of the time, the person you're fouling is worth equal or less than your player is anyway. So, I don't know, let's look at the stats. I don't know if it's fouls actually specifically listed in here, but they should be. No, weirdly enough, they're not. But yeah, 5 KOs inflicted, no injuries at all, and no kills. That's kind of crazy considering Children of June, again, are a very, very squishy team. There was a pass, there was a catch, so that's something, and an injury inflicted. But SVP-wise, actually pretty dry there. Let's see, foul... Is foul listed anywhere? No. How strange. Okay, well, we can assume that at least there was 1 foul inflicted. As to whether or not there were any other ones, probably. So yeah, a couple of MVP, well, MVP and MVP's worth, and 1. So both teams, I think, pretty okay with that. The draw is not amazing. So for anyone who is coming to this from outside the Rebel, the winning this first division with these new teams we've got coming in is a little bit of a poison chalice, because Kabusta, who's one of the coaches playing in this season, did do that and then went on to have their team horribly murdered. So, getting into the main playoffs, which includes all the teams, including teams who've been around for multiple seasons, is not necessarily what everyone's really looking for here. So winning the whole league is okay. So, another draw, but as green is mean, went up against a dashing haberdashery. 6 armor breaks. As I say, again, I managed to get lots of passes in, possibly to the expense of winning the game, but who really minds? Let's see, anything particularly crazy in here? No, just KOs, no injuries, no kills. So again, I got very lucky with not getting slaughtered. Did take a little bit more. I think, yeah, Greeter's Mean actually took a casualty. Which must have been from it going for it, because it wasn't inflicted by me. SPP-wise, both of us did okay. A lot of this is passing SPP. But yeah, nothing too crazy there. And a Blood of the Elder. So we've started to see a lot more of this coming up, that there is a lot of really high-scoring games. Mausoleum Maniacs just... I don't really know what happened there. You can see that they obviously were trying to get the fouling in, which makes sense to get the Blood of the Elder. Let's look at the stats here. So the High Elves actually not passing at all in the game, despite being the perennial passing squad. It's a little bit surprising. We can see here that the blocks were actually kind of moderately even between the two teams, so it looks like there was some very aggressive play being done, and there's more injuries inflicted by the High Elves than the Necromantic, which is honestly kind of baffling. SPP-wise, oh my gosh, Mausoleum Maniacs got literally 0, with the exception of the star player. MVP points? What am I talking about? You know what I'm talking about. MVP going to Trevor the Triton. Triton, he's also a merman. Blood of the Elder really cleaning up as far as all that's concerned. So, let's take a look at where our teams stand at the end of day 3, and then afterwards we're going to go back and have a look at some of the other ones. So, let's go from the top. Houses of the Westeros, where are you right now? See, up to 1130 team value, and where is that coming from? We've got a Troll Slayer Lannister with the Mighty Blow. We've got a couple of guards on the team, though Aaron is taking a break for now. I don't think that's anything more serious than a miss next game. Let's take a look and be sure. Yep, it's fine. So that's pretty decent. There is Martell with a leveled up block as well. I mean, the team's more or less where it was before. The guard, I think, will go a decent way towards keeping the dwarf team relevant when it comes to the later scrums. And of course, the inevitable death now of the dwarf team being once Claw and Mighty Blow comes in. But, you know, in the intervening time, I think Sardor is going to do pretty well. This team, Houses of Westeros, will be going up against my Kislev team next week. So that should be fun. Ha 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 ha. Oh boy. So yeah, they're looking pretty good. Rerolls, apothecaries, a little bit of fan factor as well. I mean, they're just developing as you'd expect. I think the Mighty Blow Troll Slayer is going to be very problematic. Especially with Frenzy making it very, very likely they're going to knock anyone down. Yes, I'm... As much as I've avoided taking too many casualties so far, there is one thing that I have done to make this next match between this team, Houses of Westeros, and my Kislev team better, and we'll get to that once we get around to my team. Alright. Oh, well, that didn't take long, because they are next. The Dashing Haberdashery. What's this dashing fellow? Why, it is the new addition to the Dashing Haberdashery team. It is... We are the Stuffing. That's right. The people squashed inside of that bear are talking to you, and they are telling you what their status is. For any of you guys who are confused as to what the heck my team has very strange names, yes, I did go for the bear. I was teasing this on stream. I was thinking, I really want a bear, especially against dwarves, because this guy has got armor value 9, and he can actually take a kick in. He's got thick skull. Prehensile tail's not really going to come into it, but still, I think it's a good investment. He's so expensive at 140k, and he inflates my team value dramatically. But it does mean I go up to 12 players. I'm going to probably save up again so I can get another Blitzer before I do anything else. But the rerolls are very, very cheap for a Kislev team, so I may well be looking at them later on. But yeah, Stuffing is there to get the stuffing knocked out of them and hopefully survive the experience. At least get me past those pesky, pesky dwarves. In terms of the rest of the team's development, I've got a couple of blocks in there, a dodge. Just kill the Slayers and you'll be fine. Yeah, I think that's a decent idea. Oh, one, they're the only player that stands any chance of getting injured. I mean, I've now at least got Mighty Blow on the team. Up until the point where Tame Bear inflicts an injury, then I'm probably going to be hitting with them. Against dwarves, it's not the ideal situation, because, of course, not having block means it's much less likely I'm going to get an injury inflicted off of any kind of both down situation. So it's not ideal, but I'll probably just do it anyway. At least the bear as well doesn't have to eat up any of my blitzes. So yes, the rest of the team, so I've got block for It's Got Hold of Me, which has already proven to be extremely useful. Clings to My Skin, it is 1 SPP from leveling up. I tried to get them in the last game, couldn't quite manage it. But we'll have Blodge soon, and then Dodge for the catcher. This, I mean, the 2 blocks are going to be very useful against the Dwarves. The Dodge, I'm sure we'll come into it, as long as I can keep away from the tackle players. It'll probably be fine! And then we've got a whole bunch of other players here who have got, well, a couple of players who are very close leveling up. So I've been investigating with help from the Sage's videos as to kind of what a Kislev team can be. And the linemen, as much as they really suck to start with, they become super good once they've got a couple of skills down. And they can get wrestle, you can get tackle, like you can make them into, you know, ball blitzers really, really well. As much as the catchers would be ideal because they've got agility 4, and I have been using them for some shenanigans, the actual linemen are really, really good for that. So ideally, I might actually just spend the whole game passing, because I don't really expect... Actually, no. So what I could do, what my secret strategy could be, is just sit at the back of the pitch passing against the Dwarves. Like, if I receive the kickoff, stick to the back of the ball passing, level up this guy, level up these guys, and just be like, okay, you know, if I lose, I lose, but I'll at least have gained some levels out of the experience, rather than just losing and also getting my team slaughtered. Yeah, catchers will do a fantastic job of getting the ball. So Dodge, I think, is going to come in very useful when I, you know, say leap, break free into there, and then dodge back out again. Really, really good. I love the catchers. I think they're such good players. I wish they had more armor, but what can you do, huh? Alright, so yeah, Apothecary in there from earlier. Very nice, very nice. No casualties so far. Looking good. Mausoleum and Maniacs, we saw they had some pretty rough games. So I believe they are on 3 losses in a row and are conceding a total of 7? Yeah, 7 goals so far in 3 games. Let's have a look at the actual roster itself. So unfortunately, the Werewolves, who are the core of the team, are not getting the SVP they need. See, no MVPs, only 1 casualty inflicted. Max Howler did end up getting KO'd and sitting out a lot of their first game. But just the Werewolves just been really, really underperforming. And while Trevor the Titan getting the MVP from the last game, just Drunk Mystic is getting no SPP from these games at all. And you can see that in the development of the team. Even though they're up to 1,100, we've only got 1 dirty player, Brittle Barry, who admittedly is a very cool player because they successfully managed to pass the ball before, which is just amazing. They've gotten dirty player, so I think that's going to be in there. Yeah, or one skill with Necro at this point is it's really rough. I mean, once the Flesh Golems get blocked or whatever, they're very, very good. If the Werewolves get blocked, they also dramatically shoot up in terms of how good they are. I think the Whites will remain good, but again, if they were getting SVP, they'd be getting stuff like Mighty Blow, they'd be getting stuff like Guard, and they would be shooting up. Ghouls, same thing. It's practically a new team just with, let's see, how many players do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean, that's okay. I mean, Mystic having lost 3 games already is obviously not going to win the season, but maybe they can make it out. I mean, they've made it out with at least their team not being murdered. 2 rerolls, I think, is the thing that's really cutting Mystic here, because they went for the 2 werewolves early on and something had to give, and that was their reroll. The rerolls are extremely expensive, and he's got no money at all. Yeah, no touchdowns at all until this point, which is some of the reason why there are no SCPs. See, all those games, none at all. And let's look at the stats for club. 1 casualty. There's been 1 casualty inflicted by the Maniacs in 3 games. There's been 1 catch. There's been 7 touchdowns sustained, 4 casualties sustained, and 1 death sustained. I don't think it was anyone important. But yeah, I mean, stuff's gotta turn around for Mystic at some point, because, oh boy, it's been a rough season for them so far, especially as a very strong team. Alright, on to Blood of the Eldar. So we're going on to some of our superbly well-performing teams here. So just to recap the history, winning the first game against Pigeonacker, which I think was something a bit weird happening there. So they got both MVPs, which I think was maybe an admin decision. At least that's my assumption. But they took those 2-1s and went on to win the next 2 games. So with effectively 6, and then maybe some extra stuff from the first game, 6 touchdowns worth of stuff. Let's look at their roster, and we can see, oh boy. So we've got a strength 4 thrower, which is just crazy, crazy stuff. I don't really know if I would have gone for that. Riddlespawn is a very good thrower, but I mean, when is he going to use that strength is my question, especially as a throw you're tending to put towards the back. I don't know. Okay, oh, well, you were saying why. I wasn't sure where you're coming down, but yes, I do agree. It seems like a strange decision, especially if you've got the doubles. You could go for something like strong arm. Exactly, we were thinking the same thing. Like strong arm would be extremely useful, with the way that high elves play. Stay at the back, be able to reduce that distance by 1 is crazy good, especially with all of the extra passing skills. But that strength, I mean, it will stop him from getting chased down, I suppose, but it seems to encourage Exodius to play Riddlespawn in a weird way, which, putting them in a position where their strength is actually going to matter. So I'm not a big fan of that. We've got 2 catchers who've both leveled up to get dodge. We've got 2 block blitzers. I've seen before how effective these guys can be, though they haven't got very many SPP. I think the catchers are holding it all. Only 2 reroll. So, Gold is okay. Milva, Maria, Barring, taking a minus strength, minus movement. Yeah, I don't know. Riddlespawn, I don't know if they got a target at the back, because I honestly just don't think that's a good stat for the player. But hey, you never know. Maybe they'll start using them as a ball carrier, but they don't have sure hands. They don't have block. I don't know. I don't know. Let's have a look at those stats. So, they're not the most attractively presented stats. So, not that many catches, only 4. Only 1 casualty inflicted so far, which is more... what's the difference between a casualty inflicted and an injury inflicted? I don't know! But they've done 11 injuries so far, which is... So, this is something I picked up from the previous ones, is that I think Exodius is playing the high elves really aggressively, which is kind of weird, but I mean, it's apparently working. Because they've inflicted 11 injuries. They've taken 1 death and 7 casualties, which I think a lot of those were from 1 game. In fact, I think that was against the Dwarves, wasn't it? They took most of those casualties they've taken this season. Yeah, they took... yes, they took nearly all of their casualties in 1 game. So yeah. They're doing pretty well. I don't really feel particularly confident in my ability to deal with them, but fortunately I don't think I'm facing up against them until the end of the season. And if they win, who cares? But yeah, I think a pretty decent team with the plus strength aside. The catchers are getting leveled up. I really feel like the blitzers could benefit from getting some of the SPP, but having catch on them is really nice. I do like the use of... is it? Wait, are we in? I'm trying to remember. Is this the high elf team? This is the high elf team, right? Yeah. Which is? I'm trying to think of the ones where the catchers have got nerves of steel. That's Elven Union, I think. But nerves of steel is really, really nice for some of this stuff. Yeah, Blitzer's not getting leveled, I feel, really reduces your ability to use them aggressively, because if you're going to run in and use your block on someone, if you don't have dodge to be able to get back out again, that limits your options. If you don't have dodge to stop you from just getting knocked over anytime you're remotely near a line of players, that's going to mean that they're much more likely to get taken out. I don't know. The catches are lower armor, but I don't know. I'd like to see, at least at this point, I don't think getting these up to 16 is as worthwhile as getting these guys up to 6. Just because, having blodge players, I think just soaks up so much aggression because people want to, you can put them in the highest danger area and they could probably survive the experience. So yeah, Blood of the Elder on a 3-game winning streak so far, definitely looking to be one of the teams to watch to win the whole season. I will definitely check in with Blood as to who they're facing next. Green is mean. I just gave them their first non-loss in this last week. Let's check in with their history again. So, losing out 0-2 to Children of Dune, then 0-4 to the Underratted. I did watch that game and it was crazy. It was not what you would have expected to see in a 4-0 game. Basically, there was a few missed pickups, a few blitzes, kind of like a, you know, a combination of various different unfortunate events that led to that. And then played pretty well against me and managed to get the draw. So let's look at the actual roster themselves. You can see here, not too much happening there, just a Black Hawk with block. Launcher, I did manage to successfully injure in the previous one to give them minus movement. So that's going to really be a problem for Wheel Ironers. The thrower hasn't got the most movement at the best of times. I think it's intentionally designed into the Orc team to be a bit of a weakness with them. In that, you know, you've got a ball carrier who just doesn't move very fast. But now they're going to move even less fast and not be part of the next game. So I think if Wheel had the money, they might well fire Launcher and get someone else in. But, I mean, the Orc team can function without its thrower, but it's just, you know, yeah, I mean, I don't think you keep them around. Will does have enough money to be able to get another one in not this time, but next time. I'm not a huge fan of having the bundle blitzers carrying the ball, just with the traditional rule of, you know, they're away from the combat if they're carrying the ball. So, yeah, Apothecary, Female Fan Factor, all the same sort of stuff. Any stats in here they're interested in? They've done a kill. They've injured 16 players. And taken a couple of casualties along the way. Yeah. So, I think Wheel Iron is... Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so is currently in 6th. So Lord Croaks, Knuckles, and Mausoleum Maniacs both have yet to win a game, which is really unfortunate for them, but I guess it's got to happen, especially when you've got some people with 3 wins. The Underratted theoretically should have 3 wins at this point if they hadn't come in late. Anyway, so Wheel Iron's Greeniest Mean, got a long way to go. Let's check in with Children of Doom. So a quick look across at their records. So winning the first week against Green is Mean, then again against Lord of Croaks Knuckles, and then taking them 1-1 against Houses of Westeros. Let's see how the roster's played out. So you can see, this is not the healthiest looking roster. Fortunately, I think all of the gutter runners remain intact. So Duncan Idaho with the 2 heads, I really like, for just allowing it ultimate shenanigans. In fact, I imagine it's probably quite an entertaining character model as well. Let's take a look. Oh. No, the... Oh, wait, there we go. He's got a second jaw. Oh, gosh, that's terrifying. I didn't even notice that. That's, oh man, that's really scary. I don't know how that would make them better at spotting things, but I guess they didn't have the ability to make an extra head on the model, so they just went wild with it. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. $200k in the bank, so that's inflating the team value. I'm assuming that's going to get spent by Kabusta before too much longer. Try and bring that one down. What else we got? So we've got Gurney Halleck, who is the Wrestle Gutter Runner, who is, I believe, just out with this next game. Let's just check and see if it's a niggling injury. Just in case, that would be pretty bad. Nope, it's fine. So all the good stuff. So yeah, the Gutter Runners survive. Lady Jessica's fine. We've got Paul Mordib in there with the Mighty Blow as well, and we've got a kicker. So yeah, O1 said it much quicker than I did, which is that Kabusta's got everything he needs. So yeah, so you're looking pretty good here. Two wins, 1 draw. I think pretty solid. I mean, the roster, yeah, you've got enough money if you want to bring in any of the stuff. I could even maybe see Kabusta bringing in something like a Rat Ogre, but I mean, the Skaven team, it feels like I've not played a ton of Skaven, but from what I've seen, they can function pretty well with just the Lime Rats being journeymen. And it sort of leaves a weird situation where I think later on you want tons of players, but early on I think maybe your team just isn't... You don't tend to have enough money or development to really be able to support them. So I think presumably the path is going to be, you know, build up your Storm Vermins and Gutter Runner. Storm Vermin? A Gutter Runner. And then at some point when everyone's developed, you can spend out a little bit. But maybe that's, I don't know. Yeah, Journeyman Line Rats. I kind of wish they were called by their race names. I think they're kind of fun. The Line Rats are exceptional chaff. And I think at this point, you're getting, what, 2 of them? Well, 3 of them because of Gurney Halleck, which covers most of your line. Then you've got Wellington, who probably could just be fired and replaced with another free one as well. Yeah, I think Kabus's doing pretty well. You know, Apothecary, Fan Factor, all that good stuff. I think having one unlevel Gutter Runner is a little bit unfortunate. No, 2 unlevel Gutter Runners is a little bit unfortunate. Because the danger that maybe Kabusta will run into here is that Duncan Idaho is going to be so good at scoring with the 2 heads that they're not going to be... That Kabusta may well be put into a position where they can only score with Duncan and they can't get the SVP on the other Gutter Runners. I don't know if that's going to be true, but it might happen. Oh yeah, so what, you did the same thing with your Dark Elves, yeah. Just putting the loners on line of scrimmage. My Killslave team is probably going to be the same way. In the regular ladder, I got murdered, so I actually quite liked having line of scrimmage guys who were loners, just because I could then focus on developing everyone else. As much as, you know, the linemen for Killslave are very good, certainly in the Skaven team's case, they are very much not. And I think I've seen certain advice saying to maybe even fire the linemen if they get developed because they're just going to get killed anyway. But yeah, I actually quite like them. I guess something I hadn't noticed until recently is how much movement's on the whole team. The Storm Vermin having movement 7, the linemen having movement 7 as well, which is just kind of bonkers. They don't get to use it very much, but it's there. The human team, I don't know if did the human team actually play? Let's find out. No, I think they are a filler team. I think they're basically an admin buy. Okay, so we don't need to worry about that. Underratted. So let's go in and take a look at what these guys are doing. So this is another team that have been doing superbly well. And let's quickly go over the history. So yeah, in the ramp up league they will beat the High Sea Surf Riders. What a great team name. And then 4-0 Greeners Mean and 3-0 Lord Croak's Knuckles. Crazy stuff. Look at the stats. They've inflicted 2 kills so far, which probably puts them on the head on the league. And 6 casualties so far. I think they've taken 20 injuries? I don't know, a lot of the stats are not very well explained. But let's look at the roster. So we've got double throwers with block, very, very nice. We've got a Skaven Blitzer with strength and one with Mighty Blow. Yeah, from what I've heard, the Skaven Blitzers or Stormvermin, I think they're identical. Apart from maybe the Skaven Blitzer having mutation access on normals, whereas I think the Stormvermin have it on doubles. So yeah, the Underworld having apparently some of the best blitzers in the game. And I can believe it. You know, if you've got normal access to Mighty Blow, Claw, piling on, like, that is pretty gross. So I'm really fearful of Mizra and the Underratted team. Like, that is going to be real nasty. And the Goblins, they haven't developed at all, which is kind of expected. We've got a lineman with Wrestle, that's pretty strong. And let's throw a teammate. I just didn't recognise the icon there. Yeah, Flap Stench also did pretty well. So we'll go and have a look at this team's game after this as part of the recap. But yeah, the team's developing perfectly. Those SVP are exactly where they need to be. The plus strength in this case is extremely useful as opposed to a bait. So yeah, I think there's a gent I've been talking to who's a big fan of Underworld, and I kind of was tempted to run them, but I was like, look at this armor, they're never going to survive in an Eternal League. But I don't know, Mizra's doing really, really well with them, so what do I know? And they've even got a spare player as well, so good stuff. I love having Goblins on a Orc team, and in this case, yeah, I really like it, really like it. I think against teams with Mighty Blow, they are going to fall to pieces very quickly though. Like, even the throwers having armor value 7 is a big problem, and the linemen as well. Like, I don't know, at some point I'm hoping to get the some Mighty Blow piling on for my blitzers as well. Yeah, Goblins with 2 heads is the bonkerific. I think we may well see some attempt to get some amount of SCP on the goblins. Because yeah, the two heads just completes them as a player, I think, pretty much. And having the stunty. I'm trying to remember the. No, I'm thinking of Snotlings to get the +1. No, Stunty doesn't actually do that. It's Titchy that gives you the +1 to dodge. So +1 to dodge from the two heads, and the Stunty to stop it being anything but 2+, and the dodge. As much as goblins could pretty much go wherever they pleased, having a two-headed guy, especially a two-headed guy, yeah, big hand and extra arms. Oh boy, I mean, I don't know if they'd live that long, but yeah, like that is. You could literally have a goblin who could just walk in and take any ball from anywhere. I don't think I've ever seen a team get developed enough to get big hands, or big hand, but it is a very fun skill, and I really wish that it was a little bit more pushed in terms of it was a little bit more viable as a skill to see more often, because it's very, very cool. And I think it might actually be a little bit overpowered under the certain circumstances like that one. But yeah, underrated, very, very good looking team. Something to say there, I said. Yeah, the SCP have worked out really well. I mean, even with the one MVP onto the goblins, all of the other MVPs have gone on to relevant targets so far, and they're just going to keep on rolling. I think they're extremely good. One of the teams to watch for the whole thing. And last of all, Lord Croak's Knuckles by Haunt. Let's have a look at their history. So I don't think it's gone so well for them. No, they lost. No, they won their onboarding game against We Are the Power Crew. They're losing 4-1 and losing 3-0. Really hurts. Let's have a look at where they've ended up. They have. So they've got a Saurus for block and a Saurus for guard. I don't know if a team with 4 strength 4 players and a strength 5 player needs guard, but a skink with plus strength now. Now that is what we like to see. Like, yeah, I would go block on all as well. As boring as it is, I really think that like it's a mistake to not do that. I mean, I would have felt like Mighty. If I'm going to take a non-block skill, I would have thought Mighty Blow would be the one to go for, if anything, because the Sauruses are going to level up so slowly. They need MVPs. I can't wait for the changed MVP system to come in. I think it's going to really help. Well, I don't know actually if that's going to unbalance things. If you get to, like, yeah, if you put say all 3 of these Sauruses in for MVP, that you guarantee one of the level ups. I think it will help normalize the development a little bit, and then maybe stuff needs to be nerfed after that. One with break tackle, yeah, I can see that. I think I would maybe go for break tackle a little bit later on, just so they can actually do something useful after they've broken tackle. Like maybe break tackle, block guard, maybe, and then you could, yeah, run around and whack stuff. But also, you could put the guards somewhere unexpected. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, Freckles, the skink, definitely an MVP in the making. I always like level ups which kind of make a player look like they could be a star player, and just putting the extra strength on the skinks feels like that's massively important to stop easy 2-die blocks against them. I think if Freckles continues to level up, they will be really nasty. I think the thing that Haunt's really missing here is probably extra players, because they've only got the, I think 10 at the moment, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, so 6, 7, 10. So they are working with the one spare skink and only 2 team root rolls, I think, as a consequence of starting with a Croxagore and Saurus. It's tough when you're with a team that doesn't really have starting skills per se. Let's look at the stats. They've inflicted the kill, it's nice. They've taken a death themselves. They are currently 0-3 in the league, so not doing so well, but you know, I think Freckles could maybe carry away. Right. So let's go and take a look at the under-ratted team and see how they are playing, because I'm just kind of curious about that. And then after this will be the end of the stream season, because I have to go research for a stream tomorrow. Oh boy. Trying to do too many things at once. Right. So we'll know that this one is going to end pretty convincingly for the under-ratted team, but I'm just curious to see how they play. So we'll probably just jump through a few different bits here, just kind of try and catch the interesting parts, just the highlights really. Alright, let's get past the setup. So, Croak's Knuckles get to go first, so this theoretically should be a pretty good start for them. So... oh boy, their block dice are a bit rubbish. So yeah, and this is the position in which I would kind of hope that you would have the blocks to be able to do a better job of taking out them, but okay. I mean, that's kind of what you expect. I haven't played against a lot of Underworld teams to know that the putting the goblins on the line of scrimmage is a normal thing or not. I guess it does make sense that you're, like, even while being the same player as they always were, the Skaven linemen kind of fulfill are almost, well, I guess they are positionals in this context, even though they are pretty terrible, but they are not as incredibly weak as the regular ones are as a fail pickup. I think, yeah, I don't think the reroll was burnt there because, again, Haunt only has 2 rerolls, so I think you just have to accept it. That could... so, because we've got a team where all the escaping parts are movement 7, I think the possibility of having the ball pressure is pretty significant. Let's jump forward and see what happens. Yeah, so they've immediately gone in and Squeak doing their best impression of being a gutter runner. And they kind of semi-convincing. I think you could, you know, if you squinted real hard, you could pretend they were. The Saurus is near the center. The only way I can really see this going particularly badly is if there's a... ooh. Okay, no, that's actually totally fine. Because that's going to allow for a shove off the pitch. Or at least, it would be a 2 red dice, actually. Oof. I probably would still go for it. So, Saurus is all pretty much around the center of the pitch. Alright, let's get to the next one. So yeah, it looks like it did go, that push did go through successfully. So ball's picked up, under-ratted. So Flap's Tench is doing a pretty good job of holding the center. And of course the goblins will be able to get away pretty much at will. Ooh, the 1 dice block, but I guess it's with a block against no block. Alright, so that looks fine. Let's jump forward a little bit and see where this goes. Yeah, the ball position is really weird. I thought maybe in my gaming glitch that these skinks had not been moving, but as far as I can tell, they actually are still there. At this point, it's looking pretty good for the Lizardman team. There we go. So moving up a strength 3 ball carrier with dodge, you know, I mean, I don't really know how you get rid of that. At this point, like, you know, this is not an elf team where they can dodge away very easily. All of the Skaven pieces can just get marked by any of the Sauruses and they just can't get away. So this seems like a pretty solid start. Let's fast forward a little bit. So a KO, a casualty. Let's look through. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but basically nothing. I think maybe the Skaven Blitzer went after something. Let's jump forward a bit. So the line continues to move forward. I mean, this is the one time when the guard's actually going to come in and actually do something. Okay. I mean, it's slow and steady from Haunt here. I can't really blame him for doing so. I think maybe it feels like there's some possibilities of shenanigans with the goblins, but that I think having plus strength on the skink is a real kind of confounder in terms of people won't necessarily take account of that, just because it's so unusual. Alright, so what happens next? Alright, something interesting does happen, so let's go back and watch it. So under Ratted, turn 4, seems like this is where things change. So we've got a blitz from the Mighty Blow guy. Oh, it's going to be a chain push, which is a... Alright. I mean, that doesn't seem like that was worthwhile. Because now you've got a troll that's almost certainly going to go really stupid. Unless, of course, you bring them a goblin buddy. Okay, fair enough. I still don't think that's a good idea, though. Yeah. I mean, it's a goofy plan, but it worked, so who am I to say? But this does leave the ball pretty wide open for the taking. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy! Wow. Wow. That's absurd. Though I don't like the fact that Hunt didn't make any pre-moves there, like with any of the skinks. But I mean, there wasn't actually too much else they could have done anyway. Okay, that's just ridiculous. Okay, I mean, it's not unrecoverable for the Lisbon team, but once this ball gets stolen, it's going to be a major, major problem. Cheers, Jesper. Thanks for dropping by. Hopefully we can figure out that charity stream stuff. That's sounds like a good time. I've never done one of those before, but I thought it was tomorrow, but no, it's in a month. So I have time to figure out stuff ahead of time. Okay, so ultimately, we're down to 0 rerolls here. This is a big problem for a team that doesn't have very much block and it doesn't have any short hands or anything. As in, I think they're actually going to have some... Ooh, okay. What? Oh my gosh! Wow. That is chronic. Oh man, I don't like blitzing on the troll there. That seems... I mean, I guess that's how you clear the ball, but... Man, yeah, the thesauruses are just... Yeah, I mean... Okay, I mean, I guess let's see how this first half falls apart for the... This is... Alright. Man, I cannot believe the casualties so far. I mean, I would be so salty if I was Haunt. At this point, what do you even do? Oh, well, I mean, that does something. Man, that's an aggressive apothecary. Especially considering that you've already taken a casualty. Alright, well... I think you could still blitz with Kermit and end up next to the ball and be quite okay. Or... Yeah, every block is very risky at the moment, especially when you're going up against block players. Yeah, I'm not sure I really care for not having the ball carrier marks at this point, but... I mean, it feels like it's a pretty safe movement of the ball down the pitch once these two get everything out of the way. Freckles is still such a good player. Okay. I can see the Skinks dogpiling the ball carrier at this point. Yeah, I mean, if the Lizardmen really feel like a Chaos team in terms of this, you know, they've got a bunch of big guys with high strength, high armor to start off with, but very few starting skills. And in that case, I don't think anyone would really be kind of countenancing the idea of starting with less than 3 rerolls. Just because of how bad the team is at everything. Is Hip Hop, well, puts pay to any thoughts of there being too much shenanigans going on. Misra really wants to get rid of those, and does manage to clobber the skink pretty hard. I guess when you've got Mighty Blow, it's definitely worth a shot. Going after Freckles as well. You monster. Alright. So that's a half down. It was just weird, honestly. I don't know if it's right or not for the Zimmerman to kind of get into that situation, which is like basically a big scrum. Because I would have thought, like, what other situation I'm supposed to get into to get the ball up the pitch? Was it just down to bad dice? Yeah, I mean, I can, it's definitely the wisdom is to try and take out as many skinks as possible. So, I mean, that does certainly make sense. Let's see. So, going to second half with 2 players off and 2 players off, but of course one of them being the Croxagore as well as Skinked. So the strength advantage should theoretically still be massively in the Lizards' favour, but they are going to get clobbered now. I can't see a way for the Underworld team to really easily deal with them, though I think putting your Sauruses out on the flanks here is kind of asking to get whacked. If they were all together, I don't know how they could possibly get taken out. But now, the centre, I presume. Well, at least you've given the option to open up at least one flank. Where... What do you get out of this? Forcing them down the side, I guess, or forcing them through the centre? I don't know, honestly. Maybe L1 you've got better insight as to what they're kind of going for here. Under-ratted, going to have to deal with a perfect defense, which there you go, ends up being more or less what I would have expected them to do anyway. But at least, it's more of a focus over on the flank. Freckles should do a pretty great job of that. And here we go. So we've got some support coming in. So this is pretty good. Perfect defense is such a game killer. It's the kicker result I never ever hear people talking about, but it's so devastating. I mean, I guess at least the person who's receiving the ball gets a turn to react to it, unlike Blitz. But it's like there's so much stuff that can completely mess up, especially if you're the weaker team. That suddenly you've got a whole face full. You think it's always a mistake to put more than 3 on the line, even if you have more strength? It's tricky. I think... Oh my gosh, Bully Frog got KO'd and then injured. Sheesh. It's a gambit, I think, to put your players... put a big lump of your players onto the front line when you've got more strength. I have really struggled against that before, but only when my team was significantly weaker and couldn't really fight. Like the Kislev team, they haven't got any big high strength players to be able to line break. So I think it can go kind of wrong, but I think on a perfect defense, I think it's a lot less risky than it would be to put all your players on the line of scrimmage normally. So the Sauruses can deal with the troll pretty well. I mean, it's a bit of a shame you can't mark more Skaven players, but there we go. I think so. If I'm looking at this on paper, I still think that Lord Croak's Knuckles have got a pretty decent matchup, though sending a guard player off the flank is a little yikes. Ooh, not going off the ball carrier. Alright, sure. Freckles is as far away from the ball as they could conceivably be. Oh yeah, no, I didn't even notice there was a potential Saurus surf. I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah, it's worth being aware that it's there. As Warp gets clobbered, they're going to get armor broken as well. Astonishing. Man, I mean, these guys haven't even got claw yet. Imagine what they do. But yeah, I mean, the more that these Sauruses end up on the side, the less able they are to follow. Though movement 6 is nothing to be sniffed at. Oh boy, those both downs really been following Horns around this game. I think playing long enough, it really feels like when you don't have block that you almost can't block. Oh, surf on the initial kick lineup on the kickoff. Oh, interesting. Oh, I didn't notice that. I'm trying to think of how that must have worked. I'm not sure what's going on with Freckles, that they're being run away from the ball. I mean, I guess you're trying to keep them away from fit form cutter as much as possible, but I also think that they're your only chance of ever getting the ball back. I mean, at least Wart is in a decent position. Well, they probably won't be able to get a decent position. Yeah, they're setting up one space away, which makes sense because presumably this Whatmutt is going to go in and mark Wart and keep them from being part of it. Or okay, well, that guy is, and then a skink mighty blowed every turn. Yeah. Results may vary, but they won't vary a lot. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, so you had it was only armor broken with the mighty blow, and then double sixes on the injury roll. It's kind of weird with the goblins. A lot of the time, it feels like they can dodge with complete impunity, but they are ultimately only agility 3 players with dodge, which is a high chance of working compared to, you know, a lot of players, I suppose, who are not you never really ever consider dodging with. But they're not, you know, it's not amazing. I don't see any way for Croc's Knuckles to stop the second touchdown here. I think a missed trick here for Freckles is being able to dodge into the cage and go for one dice on the ball carrier. I mean, as much as that may be my Kisleb talking, like, it's a chance to get a hit on the ball carrier. I think at this point, it's very easy to get a knock away on Tadpole. Or even just not down. Yeah, I don't know. Like, once I get used to the idea of having block on a team, I just find it really hard to go back. As there we go, that's the second score, and the game's basically done. I mean, the old one from where you're sitting, or standing, or kneeling. We've had a fair few casualties, and we've had a fair few bad dice coming in for the Lizardman coach here. I'm kind of curious to see how much you think that the game is turned on those factors as opposed to strategic factors. I don't know if I would have done anything tremendously different with the Lizardman team. I think maybe Haunt not doing some of the basic moves before going for some of the risky moves is a sort of a fundamental error to point out. But I don't think those were game-breakingly bad. As it is, though, I mean, even with Mighty Blow, I don't feel like, oh boy, Riot. Oh, well, do you think the game was to find a lot in the roster building? I presume you mean in terms of Haunt having so few rerolls primarily, which I think I can get behind. I mean, at this point, oh jeez. The goblins are almost Amazon-like. In fact, they are effectively Amazons which are slightly easier to injure. Yeah, because you're going to get, when they're on the line of scrimmage, you're going to be getting 2 dice on them, irrespective if they have strength 3 or 4. And armor 7 is the same as the Amazons, and Stunty's the only thing that makes them worse. And as you see, when these guys do not have block, they're actually pretty survivable. I mean, ideally, you want to be bringing an assist in so that you could make 3-die blocks. one in all the games I've seen of Haunt, I've taken a quick glimpse at a fair few of them. They've gone down to 0 rerolls very frequently. I think maybe it's tough. Goblins are really amazing. Oh, there we go. There's some really terrible dice from Misra. I don't think they've had anything really appalling so far. Man, I was satisfied with. Wait, what was was that a pass up the pitch? Yeah, pass, -1 for stunty, inaccurate. And it's so inaccurate. Wow, that's, I think, the first golden pass. Alright. Freckles a skink. I always find it fascinating to see how, how the front of the field can be pretty strong, well, relatively strong, whereas the back of the field can be a complete disaster zone. Like how different those two things can be from each other. I mean, yeah, the Goblins have actually done a pretty great job of keeping this from feeling like a matchup where the strength is really, disadvantaged for the Underworld team. Because the Saurus just can't put them down. Getting twice the chance of doing that on each dice by having block is making it a little bit unfair in that respect. Okay. So lizards probably run the skink up like here. Oh, assuming it survives the experience, of course. Which it will not! Oh boy. Yep. Yep. I mean, if there were any skinks in that area, that would actually be pretty okay. You think the coach is a little fast on the reroll? Is that Misra or Haunt? I don't know if Haunt necessarily had a huge amount of options. Though I suppose they could have potentially taken some of these both downs. It's a 50% chance to pick up the ball. No, wait. It's... Nah, never mind. Whew. Okay, I don't know if I've necessarily gained a huge amount of insight here with Misra, but in terms of how they play, because I feel like a lot of this is been down to what Haunt's been doing more than what Misra's been doing necessarily. I do think Misra's maintained good focus on going after the squishy targets, so they've been taking out Croxagors and Sauruses, some of which are down to Haunt rolling both downs, but they've been making some armor breaks that they probably shouldn't have been making, but they have been focusing on trying to kill skinks when given the opportunity. Which I can't blame them for. Naturally. Oh, I see. So now they've got to try and hand it off. Man, that movement on the blitzer though. Man, they even ran it right in. That's crazy. Yeah, I think Misra is solid as well. I didn't see anything in there which was kind of like, which I was kind of like, about. It was all just, that makes sense, that makes sense. I could definitely conceive of a world in which that went very differently, but I think it's a little bit like, well, I guess the Norse would be the the main example of this, where if you can keep the pressure onto a team, then the fact that you've got no armor doesn't really matter. That's why I'm kind of curious to play a Norse team at some point, just to see how different the game can be when you're kind of like playing a real glass cannon team, because there aren't that many teams which are built that way, where it's like where you've got a specific kind of hits really hard but can't take a hit for anything, because that's generally the weak players are the ones who've got dodge and things like that. they're not the ones where, oh, there you go, that's something. You don't get, I don't think I know, apart from maybe Amazons, another team that you would really consider to be glass cannon-esque. I don't know. Oh, well, let me know if I've missed something there. Oh, that's a little, I mean, there wasn't going to be a score anyway, I don't think. But that's a bit unfortunate. Certainly a game where you don't roll those defender downs. It feels very, very different than the games you're doing. Even there, what was that, a 6? Need an 8? Yeah. It's hard to really notice specifically when it happens, but the guy, I don't... Oh, they even survived the experience. Brilliant. You gotta go for a pass here. Oh. But yeah, I mean, I think you turn that guard into a block and you're suddenly, you know, you're doubling up on your instances of guard. You're doubling up on your chances of taking down a goblin. Yes, avoiding end of the turn next to the opponents. I think that sounds really interesting. I think it'd be worth... It sounds, again, like a very different Blood Bowl experience. Yeah. And they ended up with a ridiculous amount of SVP from the match. Just craziness. So, as we look again at the leaderboard, Children of Doom, Underratted, and Blood of the Elder all looking very, very strong. I think my team is quite likely to get clobbered. Let's take a quick look at next spec. So, Green does mean Lord Croak's Knuckles. One of them is going to probably win it. And hopefully it means that one of the teams starts to get going. That's going to be really... Blood of the Elder versus Children of Doom is going to be crazy amazing. That's going to be two of our top teams up against each other, and two agility teams as well. Mausoleum Maniacs against Underratted. I think Maniacs will have a lot of trouble there. And Dashing Haberdashery versus Houses of Westeros. I think the Dwarf team very well set up to counteract what little development I managed to get so far. I'm hoping that the Bear stands up under the onslaught. Yes, it's very hard to avoid stand next to someone when you've got Frenzy. I do agree. I really like the Yeti though. I love having the Yeti that you can go, you know, you've got the claw straight away and you can make a mighty blow claw very, very swiftly. And with wild animal as well. Like that you're not ever, you know, presumably if you go the built-in claw, then mighty blow, then guard, then you've got someone who's not only moderately effective at killing people, but you've got someone who's a relatively reliable piece to just stay on the line of scrimmage as well. Which I like a lot. I like a lot. Alright, so that's going to be it from me for this evening. I'm going to go get some sleep. I've got myself some League of Legends to cast tomorrow over on the unofficial English broadcast. That's Opalcast, if any of you guys are League of Legends fans. But for now, I think I'll be playing my next game against the Houses of Westeros on Friday. I will do my very best to try and get the live Blood of the Elder versus Children of Doom game, because that's going to be a heck of a time. Thank you, all and everyone else who came by the stream. Jesper, oh, I know it's not here anymore, but hey, maybe I'll check back someday. For now, though, have a wonderful night. I'll see you guys very soon.